Good morning. It is Tuesday morning on my way into work, and as I started up my car this morning, and I'm thinking, the noise that it makes that noise because it's always thirsty. It's always thirsty. It drinks oil like it should be in Oils Anonymous. Yeah. But I don't know where it goes. This is never leaking. I don't know where it's going, but it's going somewhere. But, I look at vehicles. There are so many different ones out there that I would love to have. Anybody who knew me in high school knew that I had a Bronco. And it was my favorite vehicle, and to this day it's been my favorite vehicle. Closely second was oh my goodness, there was an eagle in the tree back there. That's cool. Every time I see an eagle I think of my brother. I don't know why, but anyway, I digress. So the Bronco, it was an 85 Ford Bronco. Fabulous. Loved that thing. It was like driving a tank. Little tank, but a tank. It was solid, I could put that thing anywhere. I could make my own parking spots. God, I took it on logging roads that I probably shouldn't have even had a four-wheeler on. Oh yeah, I put that thing in all kinds of places. It was fun. And it was a stick shift. So, anytime you drove it, you just got that feeling of power. I don't know why. Just something about doing this with the little thingy and the clutch and the stick shift. Yes. Anyway, I know what it is. Anyway, so I'm always kind of keeping an eye out for vehicles, and I'm just, yeah. But so I'm looking at like I'm a little older now, so I need to be a little more conscientious of safety. So looking at the new Broncos, of course, that was like my dream. I wanted to get one of the new Broncos. I wanted to be one of the first ones here in Duluth to have a new Bronco because it was that much of a big deal to me. And then when I looked at them, they weren't quite as impressive as I remember them being. But it's like, okay, if it's going to be a little bit more modern, okay, it's not going to have that little squared front like my other one did. It's not made of steel like my old one was. But, they still look pretty cool. And I'm like, and you could get them in a stick shift. So I was like, yes, please. But safety ratings came out, and they weren't exactly the safest vehicle. So, not that I do a crap ton of driving, although you would think I do, because that's kind of where I really only make my videos. It's because that's the only time I'm alone to make my videos. Anyway, so I'm looking at these Broncos, and they're not the safest. So I'm like, okay, so what else is out there? Well, one of the safest vehicles that Ford makes that I've found on there is the Explorer. It's a pretty darn sturdy vehicle, can handle a impact pretty darn good. So I'm thinking, well, I've had Explorers in the past. I didn't have a problem with them. I liked them. Every one of them that I had was good. Even the one that we bought from Sanju, that when they sold it to us, they told us it had a knock in the engine. And we were like, you know what? Okay. And then when we decided we were going to get a camper, and the guy at the camper place said, oh, sure, no problem. You can pull it with that. And we get it halfway up the hill, and so... But I still liked the truck. It was great, So I'm thinking Explorer isn't too bad, but everybody's got an Explorer. I want something a little different. Something's going to stand out, like me. I'm a little different. So I'm thinking, I suppose I could go with a different color. I could go with like a purple, like a deep purple maybe, or like a deep purple with black striping, or I don't know. Something weird. But anyway, so I'm looking, okay, so Ford makes a decent safety vehicle. I'm thinking, if you want to go with safety and reliability, Toyota supposedly is one of the best. Subaru is another one. Subaru, I think, has the highest safety rating, or one of the highest. And that's what my son has. He has a Subaru, and that's what he wanted. And he wanted it because of the safety. And I mean, that kid, he's a thinker. He's good. He's really good. My daughter is looking for a vehicle right now. She had an Escape that I kind of talked her into, and I felt terrible because you put her in a position where she didn't have, I guess I didn't talk her into it, but I took her out and introduced her to the world of buying a vehicle when she was 18. And yeah, and she wasn't ready for it yet, and I felt terrible because I put her in that position. But what was so really stupid is I'd never been in that position. I have honestly never purchased a vehicle. I've never purchased a vehicle. My first vehicle was my grandma's car that my dad inherited and gave to me to use. It was in his name, but gave it to me to use. Second vehicle was my Bronco that Dad bought for me and gave to me for my 18th birthday, which I was absolutely amazed with. Loved that thing. Next vehicle was an Explorer that my ex and I bought, and when we bought it, it only went backwards, so we had to put a transmission in it. And then, after that, then it was just vehicles that my ex had, or after he left, then Dad gave me the Aerostar van that they had, that we had to bungee cord the doors closed, but it ran like a dream. I mean, there was no issue whether it was going to start or not. It was just a question of were you ever going to be able to get out of it, or in it, or get it to stay shut while you're driving. We had the door handles pulled closed with a purse strap one time. Oh my God, it was funny. But, there's all these different, vehicles that I've had. None of them have been something that I picked out that I wanted. None of them. Not to say that I wasn't happy with the ones I had. Dad gave me his car that he had. It was a Mercury Sable that he had fixed up. He bought it salvaged. He had fixed it up for himself and was going to sell it. And then, when the Aerostar was getting to be a little too much for me, he says, "You know what? Here, you take this one. I've got another one I can use." I'm like, okay. So he switched it over to me. It was in my name. It was the first one I'd ever had in my name. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. It had its little quirks, you'd stop at a stoplight and all of a sudden the interior lights and everything would flash, the horn would honk, and blah, 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 every time you hit the stoplight. So we had to kind of pull that fuse. There were a few little things, when you wanted the heat to come on, the blower, you'd have to take your little rubberhead mallet and smack the thing on the floor on the passenger side. Scared the crap out of some of my passengers when I go at them with a big old mallet. But yeah, it had its quirks, but it ran great, drove great. Yeah. So, but anyway, I've been looking at vehicles and I'm thinking, that'd be so cool. Some of the vehicles that I see on the road today have options on them that I didn't know existed, like turn signals. Who knew? Some of these vehicles out there obviously don't have turn signals in them, or, there's a few different things, but I don't know. I'm looking for something that is affordable, something that I'd like to get something that I don't have to make payments on, so free would be good. Or something used that is not like a, major expense, but slightly used. I don't want something with, 200,000 miles on it. Although one of the Explorers that Bill had, one of them, the only Explorer that Bill had, God, what did it have? When he bought it, it had like 140,000 or something like that miles on it. And when he, when Natanya started driving, he gave her the Explorer to use, and so she used that, and by the time it finally pooped the bed, It had, I think, what was it, like 230 or 240 some thousand miles on it. I mean, it was like, are you kidding me? And a lot of miles. But yeah, it was one of those one of those things that, you know, Natanya absolutely loved that truck. Even though it had a suction cup, one of those great big suction cups on the window, on the passenger side window to hold it up, because that fell off the track and we couldn't get it fixed. And there were a few other quirks with it too. I can't remember what they were. Oh, the door lock, or the latch. When it got really cold, the driver's door, and it might have been the passenger door too, but I think at least the driver's door wouldn't close. So you'd have to get a screwdriver out there and pop the latch so you could close it. Yeah. But you know what? That's what makes things fun. That's what makes things memorable. But yeah. So I've been thinking a lot about vehicles. I mean, whatever. What is this thing? It's a Chevy Equinox. You know, when it runs, when it drives, it's great. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I like it. You know, the Chevy, it's not bad. I've never been a Chevy person, but it ain't bad, you know? Would I prefer a Ford? Yes. If my dad used to have a hat that I kind of live by, I would rather push a Ford than drive a Chevy. But, you know, that's just, yeah, it's just a thing. But, I mean, it's a nice vehicle. It drives. It's comfortable. Drives well. Drives good in the snow when the tires are good, you know, which I've got new tires on this thing. So, you know, this winter will be no problem as long as I can keep it running. So, yeah. Anyway, that was just an interesting thought I had this morning as I was getting in my car. I'm like, oh, I'm dreaming of new cars. Anyway, hope your dreams come true today, guys. Hope mine does too somehow. Anyway, love y'all. Have a great day. Bye.